এবারে আমরা তুই বাড়ি যাবে তাড়াতাড়ি, হ্যাঁ ঠান্ডা লেগেছে, বেশ একটু তো নাক টান। রাজস্বী করুন।
Good afternoon, everyone. The title of my paper is Tracing the Performances of Baijis and Hensman Anthony, a multilingual study of Bengali ethnomusicology. Uh, Next slide. So, society and its ethos exist in an intersection with the lingua franca of a certain region. If we consider a culture to be a watertight compartment, it would become stagnant. Broadly dividing language into two segments, we get the written language and the spoken part of language. The section encompassing the written is in the domain as a free text. But for the language we speak, it always involves certain performative aspects. Taken into cognizance the different forms of utterance of the same words or phrases, the difference in the quote unquote dialect is a performative element of language that keeps it fresh and flowing. Next slide. Uh, the main concern of this paper is music, which is blending with performance traditions, thereby creating a huge array of cultural artifacts, thus documenting the reality of the times they belong to. The focus is on the trajectory and situating where Baijis and Hensman Anthony as performers who exist amidst the vast quote unquote cultured intelligentsia of Bengal. Etymologically, if we look into the term Baiji, Bai means mother or elder sister, and Ji is a suffix which is used to show respect, as well as in the case of Antony Firingi. If we look to the term Firingi, it has its roots in the Persian word farang, used to denote foreigners of European descent. But both of the terms connotate something very vulgar or quote unquote uncultured among the educated Bengali intelligentsia. Baijis, who hailed mostly from Lucknow with Wajid Ali Shah, were diasporic identities in Bengal. For the Baijis, who are also acclaimed as Tawaifs in the northern part of India, it is mostly about aspirational mobility from one province of India to the other. Whereas for Hensman Antony, it is different because he was born in India to a family of Portuguese salt merchant. Next slide. The ambivalent position of next yeah. The ambivalent position of Hensman Anthony in terms of diaspora is my entry point to the project about which he, through his performances in Pobigan tradition, that is the lyrics, his outfit, that is his dhruti Punjabi clad attire, depicted his precarious identity. Henry Newman writes in his book titled The Indian Peep Show about the Kabigan tradition, and I quote, these performances consisted of quote unquote abuse with music and parties where a man who wanted to entertain his friends would ask them to feast, unquote. Although a man named Gorakhonath was Antony's lyricist in the primary stage, he later wrote lyrics on his own. Next slide. And just like the lyrics, Antony created a completely secular dialect through his music, and that is how he transposed the quote unquote Kistikyo tradition to a somewhat verbal duet. Next slide. Uh, no, sorry. Shogoto Bhaduri terms him as a polycolonial figure in Bengal at the onset of Renaissance or Novojagoron. Apart from Kobigan, he also composed Agomoni songs where he considered both Durga and Kali as his muse, thus reducing the fine line between domestic deity of Durga to that of Kali. Chandanagar or Forashtaman, whichever way we call it, was a seat of Vaishnavite culture amalgamated with the ideas of liberty and equality as it was a French colony. We can find it easily that sati as a practice was abolished from that land of Chandanagar even before it became a law. Critics like Rosinka Chaudhary compare Antony, the Bengalized Englishman, with Derozio on account that both of them practiced an alternative modernity which is way different from that of the colonizers. Newman also writes that Antony was a singer of the Bhang type. Although he was not a Bhang, he was indeed a Firingi. This word in India is applied to people of European descent who have sung socially. Next slide. Jyotirmoy Sheel in his essay Baiji Dance and Babu Culture of Colonial Calcutta, a literary survey, writes, and I quote, the middle class aristocracy contributed to creating the ideology of Calcutta based Babu culture. With the Nawab settling in Mediaburuj region of Calcutta, a huge number of Tawais also came to Calcutta, and it is with the new Babus or Zamindars like that of Shoabaja Rajbari and Pathuragata with their newly acquired wealth patronized or sponsored the Baiji performances. Unquote. But if we keep their monetary and other related contributions apart, it is the Baijis and their sheer craftsmanship that created a completely new aesthetics in terms of performance tradition in Bengal. We can broadly categorize them into the ones who had a diasporic identity and the ones who were inhabitants of Bengal. The diasporic courtesans like Gohar Jan, Mallika Jan Agrawali, and Janki Bai, to mention a few of them, who later became the teachers of many well known singers. In today's pop culture, we see celebrities like Vidya singing Janki Bai's Tumri, Raseli Teri Akhia, while photographs of numerous Baijis flit across the screen behind her. Next slide. Bengal has a long tradition of Dhrupad, Khayal, and Thumri. Also started to become popular as well as with Tokpa. What Nidhu Babu popularized in Bengal is a style of classical Indian music that originated from the folk songs of camel riders in Punjab. The Baijis used this form, adding their own gendered and cultural aesthetics to it. Today, the term Baiji has negative connotations, albeit it is a profession where women during the 19th century created a space for their economic empowerment. The identity of diasporic women from Lucknow who were at certain junctures marginalized for their caste positions, as we see in the previous slide. Bishwambar Rai in the iconic scene of the film Jalshaghar by Satyajit Ray. He was in a precarious situation where he couldn't accept the one who was performing as Baiji, but nevertheless he saw the performance and later he liked it. Nonetheless, they did emerge as the Baijis. They emerged as subversive agents using the quote-unquote male gaze through their art skills, challenging the very docility with which they were looked upon. Cinematic adaptations like Jati Shah projects Antony as a flag bearer of the Baul folky traditions of Bengal, with how he traversed the entire Bengal and the land. This cultural polyphony hints at certain multilingual traditions of Bengal, like the trajectory of the Chorjapot traditions and the reception of diasporic musical elements from different regions like camel riders. Thank you.
একটি কথা বলি, বিষয়টা খুব ভালো। তুমি রেনেসাঁ বলে শব্দ ব্যবহার করো।
Renaissance world. Renaissance.
বাংলা বহুদিন ধরে রেনেসাঁ রেনেসাঁ লেখা হয় না।
ওটা মানে আমার মিস্টেক হয়ে গেছে স্যার।
যেটা হচ্ছে এই প্রসঙ্গে একটা ভালো গান আছে সুমন বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়। এটি দেখছো অস্ত্র কণ্ঠস্বর।
না।
অসুবিধা সন্ধ্যাটা সুমন্ত অস্ত্র কণ্ঠস্বর।
আচ্ছা।
আর এটা হচ্ছে ফাদার অ্যান্ড দ্য স্ট্রিট। দুটোই খারাপ এই বইগুলো দেখুন এখানে সেগুলো উল্লেখ করে এটি কাজে কাজ হবে। আরেকটা হচ্ছে দেবজিৎ বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়ের কিছু কাজ বাইজিকে নিয়েই কাজ করেছে। এই মঞ্চগীতি বাইজি সঙ্গীত ও মঞ্চগীতি বলে একটা বই আছে। আরেকটা হচ্ছে বাই বারাঙ্গনা কথা। এগুলো যেহেতু গান এবং বাইজি সংস্কৃতি নিয়ে কাজ করছে আর নিজেরাও তো করছে। তো ওই বইগুলো একটু দেখি তোমার কাজে এখানে এসে সম্ভব নয়।